Huge weekend in Tuscaloosa, not only recruiting, but also with practice and a mentality that this team's trying to develop that was the signature of Alabama, and that's the buy-in. And we're going to listen to what Parker Brailsford had to say, one of the team leaders, and talk a little bit of quarterback, and then Junior Day, number 2 in Tuscaloosa, some of the visitors and what the impact these guys are going to have on the recruiting class right now that needs some more members. All that right here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Thumbs up. Thanks for being here. Brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Let's go. We say, everybody, Mick Gillespie at Bama Tailgate YouTube, and it's good to talk to you guys today as we watch Alabama football. Try to get to where they are right now through all these practices. Done week 2. We'll move on to week 3, and then eventually we'll have the 8A game, scrimmage, whatever you want to call it, however they're going to run that this year. But that'll be at Bryant-Denny Stadium, so you get to see these guys in person on April the 12th, right? We'll be there for that. But one of the things that you kept hearing about, and one of the things that was obvious watching last year's team, was that they lacked discipline. They just did. The reaction that Malachi Moore had after losing to Vanderbilt was kind of an indicator of that. The way that they played down the stretch and weren't prepared for Oklahoma, and the way they played in the Michigan game, just wasn't very Alabama-esque, right? And you started hearing stories, well, we're going to do things different now. And I think that having, obviously, Ryan Grubb as offensive coordinator is going to help a ton, but also having your leaders kind of address that. And we've heard Tim Keenan talk about it, and here's Parker Brailsford. He spoke to the media, but I thought there were a couple things he said that I wanted to get into here. And I thought, for starters, that that Parker kind of made a really good point here about what they expect from each other.
I mean, we're all preaching the same thing. I feel like guys are buying in a little bit more. I feel like last year it was, Saban just left, so some guys were a little iffy on the board first, and I feel like now guys are really starting to realize, like, we can go do something special this year.
It's obvious that Parker Brailsford and the leadership of this team want to contend for titles, and that's what kind of the way that we see Alabama. I mean, we've always seen Alabama as that team that contends for championships, which, by the way, Bama basketball playing today, and we'll talk about that. We're actually out here in Vegas right now, and had a great time watching the game at the sports book. I'm going to tell you how you can watch Bama at a sports book close to Tuscaloosa later on in the show. But anyway, the leadership, they're saying the right things. We'll see how that translates. Now, the other big question on this team, leadership-wise, is who the quarterback is going to be. Who is it going to be? Is it Ty Simpson, or is it going to be Austin Mack? I think that Keelan Russell will be third string, or if someone, say, transfers, and they'll have a chance to do that, then he would probably be the backup just by default. But Alabama would love to have 3. And Ty Simpson's, drawn praise at practice, but now you're starting to hear a lot of people. And I talked to Jake Coker on Elephant in the Room the other day, and we kind of got into this. Austin Mack is making a lot of plays in practice and is really starting to impress. And the other part of it is that he's got relationships with some of these guys going back to Washington. And some of Bama's best players right now, like Parker Brailsford, played at Washington with Kalen DeBoer. And it's interesting to hear him say, hey, well, maybe some of the guys, when Kalen DeBoer first got there, didn't buy in. And now that's all changed, right? That's any coaching move. I mean, you come in after Nick Saban, you come after Gene Stallings, you come after Mike Dubose. It doesn't matter. When you make a coaching change or a leadership change, it doesn't always translate into, people buying in. And so, that's kind of where this Alabama program is. And it's good to hear those things, but the starting quarterback is going to be the next level of that leadership. So again, I want to play another clip from Parker Brailsford in that interview, just a couple seconds of it, but he's talking about playing with Austin Mack when those two
were together in Washington and kind of what he thinks of him. I don't really know if it has anything to do with that relationship, but since like, I've seen Austin kind of grow since he's been here, because I've seen him in Washington, obviously, but I've seen him get a lot more confident. He's a lot more decisive with some of his reads and things like that. So I'm excited for him. All right, there you go. And I think that that he did a good job in the interview. I love hearing from the players, especially the guys that get up there and say something. And we're seeing new faces this year. We didn't see a lot of Parker Brailsford interviews last year, but I think he's got a really good shot to be one of the team captains if he's, I think he's about a lock. And I enjoyed listening to Tim Keenan the other day. But these guys, they all seem to be pulling in the same direction. And the next quarterback's going to be that guy that kind of leads it further down the road to, trying to get it back to where there's a high standard of winning at Alabama, and that you got to play up to the low opponents and, you got to play with the big guys at the same time. So, but Austin Mack could be a guy that seriously contends for the starting quarterback job. And that to me is interesting as well, because, that then you look at a scenario. If he makes it, if he ends up beating out Simpson, would Simpson transfer? Does that mean Keelan Russell goes to the backup job? So Russell's performance could actually help Mack if they felt like, hey, this guy is capable of being the backup right now. And if they really feel like the better quarterback is Mack, the decision's going to be a lot easier to make, knowing that you might lose Simpson, and that could happen. I'm just speculating here, but I'm just saying, like, the better that these guys play, the better the position's going to be. And I really think that it's going to be Ty Simpson's job, but he hasn't won it yet. He hasn't earned it. He's going out there and fighting for it. And it sounds like Austin Mack's going to make it really tough. And hopefully those guys, just continue to grow. And it's a really contested job where both guys could step in and win. And I think that's what the best scenario would be from everybody. Now, Bama is hosting or has hosted their second junior day. And when you look at this recruiting class, there's only 3 guys in there. So, you want, hey, if you got Corey Barber in from Spain Park, one of the best receivers in the country, he was there, loved the visit, a guy that can make a big difference for you. Do something. Another guy we talked about, Nick Abrams from McDonough School, 4-star out of Maryland, my home state. He's in the mix for a lot of teams, not Maryland, right? Like Georgia really wants him, Texas A&M trying some of the Big Ten teams, but he's in town. You want to have a great visit for him. These are opportunities for Coach DeBoer to kind of do something that I think he's really good at, and that's connecting. And I really feel like with Coach DeBoer, his one of his big attributes is connecting with people, right? Kamari Brooks, another guy that you want, right? From Georgia, and a guy that Alabama is, trending in the right direction for. Could they pull him off? But he'll be in town. Or was in town, and you try to knock all those guys down. So see what you can do. And then KJ Ford, who went to high school with Keelan Russell, someone else that Alabama wants. He's highly sought after. Auburn's one of those teams, right? So is Oklahoma. The impression that you can make on these players in these weekends, if you're a guy like DeBoer who's going to connect, this is what DeBoer's superpower is that people just genuinely like the guy. He connects with families. He makes people feel comfortable. He's honest. And he's also been very fair with playing time. So if you have good practices, he's going to make, and you're ready, you're going to get a chance to play. Might not be a lot, but it's an opportunity. And I think players like that as well. So junior day, we'll get more feedback on that, but that happened this weekend. And, we'll see if Bama doesn't get some commits coming out of this sometime soon. Now, the last thing is, I guess, today's big thing, and that's the game that Bama basketball is going to play as Nate Oates tries to find a way to motivate these guys even if that means circling the guys without a rebound on offense or defense. Bama basketball won. Robert Morris was a 23-point underdog, and they gave Bama a fight. You wonder how this team's going to respond. They had to use Grant Nelson off the bench. That's not something that they wanted to do. But you got to win the game. And he came in and was immediately a difference maker. So I'm expecting him to be ready to go today. And St. Mary's is tough. It's a tough matchup for Alabama. It's a tough matchup for any team because they're going to be disciplined. They're going to play the game the right way. They're going to score. They're going to try to slow you down, and Bama's going to try to speed it up. So, we'll see how that goes. But they can shoot too. And this is such a big matchup for the Crimson Tide because I feel like if they could just get through this, Nelson gets another week to heal up. Maybe they've played all these tough games all year. They were built for this tournament. Now it's time to play in the tournament. We've had a great time out here in Vegas. Wes and me, Wes Moss, and shout out to Mabry Moss, his daughter, back in Birmingham while we're out here getting rich out here, rich with fun. So it's been a great experience. But guys, a couple things I want to tell you is that you don't have to come all the way out here to Vegas to get the Vegas style sportsbook experience. We went to the Westgate. We're planning on going to Circa tomorrow to watch Bama. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a big sports book, but there's one that's in your backyard, and that's at Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. They got everything you need over there. You can bet. They got the table games and slots. They've got Dancing Rabbit Golf Course, which is the Augusta. You can play. It's an amazing golf course over there as well. And I'm telling you, take advantage of the opportunity. Hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. Fun place. And we appreciate them so much for being a big part of our channel. And as we're in Vegas, we're just thinking like, hey, real soon we'll be back at Pearl River. So I go there a lot, and then once in a while I'll come out here. But it's been fun hanging out, and appreciate all you guys. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Roll Tide.